Welcome everyone. Today we have Eldad A from Israel. He is the CEO of Appwrite, open source fanatic, we can say. And I'm here, and this is our first call. So we're basically making this because we can know each other, but we'll do this in public. So this is the goal of this call of this episode. So Eldad, welcome, and how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here. Finally, we get a chance to chat. We did have some conversation on Twitter DMs, just for a disclaimer, but this is the first time uh, in a video call at least. So I'm really excited to be here and eager to get started.
Yeah, it usually starts with a Twitter DMs conversation. This is how usually I start a conversation and meeting the people. Hi everyone, stay here because we will talk about Pride, open source, maybe a bit of DevRel if we have time. Let's see. And so we will start as usual with the story of Eldad. But feel free to drop your questions below because soon we'll also take questions from the audience. Okay, nice. So, Eldad, I checked a bit your LinkedIn profile. I saw that you've been like coding for a while. I see that you were like a full stack developer in 2010. I can't remember the exact company now, but like, so you started, let's say, from developing. Let's see, at least this is what I saw. So can you tell me a bit more about yourself, your story in the past? We have just max 4 hours, but feel free to take all the time you want.
I can talk like 3 hours, but we'll try to keep it simple. So I'm Eldad. I'm based in Tel Aviv. I started my journey as a software engineer probably 20 years ago as a kid that just tried to build some cool stuff and somehow got into web development. Started my professional career at a company called Walla, which is like the Israeli equivalent to Yahoo back in the day. Spent a few good years there learning and playing with lots of technologies. Um, Maybe worth saying that I've been a member of open source communities for basically all those 20 years. Mostly as a passive member at the beginning, but as time went by, I became more and more active. Started Appwrite, founded Appwrite as an open source project in 2019. And today we're just celebrating 2 years as a company.
Amazing. And yes, I also saw that you won some award, so we could brag here for hours. So this can be one of the of the things that we might do. So yes, and thank you. So before we step into talking about Appwrite, DevRel, open source, I would like to make you a more generic question. Like, what does open source mean to you, and or meant to you, like in your life, and also what does it mean now?
Well, I think open source for start, it's probably a lot of different things to different people. And for me, it was also like an evolution of what open source meant to me individually. I think at the beginning of my journey as a software engineer, I mainly used open source to basically learn how to code. I remember myself as a 12-year-old, like trying to reverse engineer open source projects out there. Just because, the source was available, you could go online, check how people do stuff. You wanted to tweak some stuff in your product, so you had to dive even a little bit deeper. Gave me a great chance to like meet some really talented individuals, probably like some of the most talented people on the world, that their work is just openly available for everyone to kind of just see and learn from. And as it evolved, like actually created a lot of amazing relationships for open source. Recently, I found that it's also a great way to build companies, which we're really excited about. So yeah, I think like open source is a great way to learn stuff. Open source is really great to build stuff in the open, to create collaborations and relationships, and also probably a lot of trust and transparency. That's something that we really notice today at our work at Appwrite, that by building everything out in the open, it really helps like build that trust and more intimate relationship with developers that are consuming and using your product. So that has been great.
Nice. Yes, I interviewed Kelsey Hightower last week, and he also said something similar, that open source is all about accessibility in the sense that it makes the code accessible, so it's great for us to learn, to understand things, also play with things, so get started with things. And so nice. So now let's get into the most interesting part, and I would like to know a bit more about Appwrite, because you are the founder of Appwrite, right? At least this is what this is what your title says. So as a founder, so first of all, like, how has it been? If you want to tell us something of the behind the scenes, so how, I don't know, about the idea, who had the first idea, the first day, the first week, so really the beginning, if you remember that, and then we step into like what is now, what is it's becoming now. But I'd like to know from you. You are the best person I can ask this.
Awesome. So I think like Appwrite is probably the classic definition of something that hasn't been an overnight success. Like trying to go back to where the idea started. I might go back like even 10 years into the past. I think Appwrite was born from necessity. It wasn't the classic story of a founder like trying to find an idea to build a big company and to make it really successful. It was actually born from like authentic pain. I was probably just trying to solve my own problems. And I realized that through the open source community, I can actually like move faster and make my ideas, bring my ideas into life, and also make them a lot better. Those products that are coming into life from those ideas. And some people say Appwrite is basic. Appwrite is a backend as a service to those of us who are listening and don't know what it is, which means it's a collection of services that are designed to abstract complexity and repetitiveness, traditional complexity and repetitiveness in software engineering, and basically give you all the API that you would usually build from scratch. You build any kind of modern application, like managing your users and authentication, managing persistency in your app, like database and storage solutions, or cloud functions for customizability, and basically use those services to build things much faster without having to worry on a lot of the traditional backend responsibilities. So taking that into consideration, Appwrite was basically designed to abstract all those pains. And those are the exact pains that I felt as a software engineer. I didn't want to spend so much time doing the same things over and over again. I didn't want to suffer from the frustration of having to learn a new framework that these days comes out every week, probably. And I think Appwrite was designed to not only solve problems, but actually to also give you a great experience while solving them. So it was probably a process of those 10 years in the industry as a software engineer, as a tech leader, seeing all the pains, all the stuff, and thinking, how can we abstract that complexity? How can we make the process easier? How we can focus on like innovation, bringing value to our customers, to our stakeholders, and to anyone who we're working with, instead of doing all the boilerplating and spending a lot of time unnecessarily, basically.
Nice, thank you. So I like the idea, I like the concept. I'm open to all the solutions, by the way, even if I have some backend knowledge. So I'm curious. Probably I'll test it at some point. We're already trying to do something with that idea. I don't know. We will get our hands dirty today. We just talk. So it's just a warm up. Okay. See, I don't know. Let's go. Nice. Okay. Okay, so now, Eldad, I'm sorry, but I want to make an uncomfortable question, which is like a hard moment, because we know that we like to, as I said, like we win award, we celebrate the stuff. I see a lot of people joining the Appwrite team lately, but I would like to know from you if you remember like a hard moment or a difficult moment in this path, and maybe how did you overcome that? So do you have one or more examples of moments? Because I want also to show some behind the scenes and struggle, that nothing is just as easy overnight success as snapping your fingers.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very common and human of us to like really be very public and loud about our successes, and some people think that that's all we're getting every day, and definitely not the case. Actually, like being a founder, like starting a company out of nothing, is like a daily challenge. if talking about like a specific challenge, the early days of Appwrite were really, really hard. I was maintaining Appwrite as an open source project for like over a year. I was so passionate about it that I decided to leave my job. And some would argue that it wasn't the wisest decision. And it was a real struggle to make a living out of it, to try like looking for sponsors for the project and, to pay the rent at the end of the month. And, at some point, like I had backup plans of how am I going to switch a partner, like to cut rent in order just, to maintain that product that was my dream, where it was, I didn't want to do anything else but like working on Appwrite and making it better and trying to fulfill the potential of Appwrite. And I think until we got our seed funding, like, it was a real challenge. I really had some serious thought, like how are we going to maintain this thing? And I think that passion, that dedication really helped succeed that challenge. And today, like we're in a really good spot with raised 3 funding rounds. The company is growing and growing, but it wasn't that easy. It was definitely not easy, especially that first year that, we had to maintain it, 0 income. It was hard, and yeah, and every day like we have lots of challenges. People should not be blinded by the public success.
Yes, and I hope you didn't have to sell your house, because now you are in an hotel. So I hope that this is not related to that.
No. Like if you know the real estate situation here in Tel Aviv, like it's a nightmare. But no, everything is fine now. I'm doing great. And
Sorry,
it's an
sorry.
Airbnb.
Sorry, I had to do this joke. Sorry of that. Nice. Okay, perfect. So thank you. This is really great, and I didn't know this, for example. So I thought that like no, you had some, because now people are talking about this. As I said, winning awards, people are joining, are super happy. There are also many opportunities, but at the beginning, like there is nothing. It was like you maintaining things, also trying to convince people around you that this might be a successful idea. Also, like leaving our job is usually not an easy easy decision, even if we have all the passion, the motivation, we see a bright future, but we still have to do something. Thank you so much. Tessa also become a member of the YouTube channel. Thank you. And yes, welcome, Tessa. Nice. Okay, so let's go on the good parts now. So you did a good job. So now let's talk about the crucial and good parts of Appwrite. So now you can just release all the potential and talk about like the important steps you took off, the important parts and the crucial moments of the company so far.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of crucial moments. Probably every day that we move forward, like kind of every milestone that we see is a success. I think like working with the community, you have this constant feedback loop, which is something very unique. Like you don't have that in other companies, and in open source companies that are built on top of a community, that are built on top of an open technology. You have so much friction and interaction with so many people that are consuming your product. Getting that constant feedback, whether it's positive or negative, it drives you to move forward and become better every day. I think that's something also very unique to open source companies, but something that drives us forward like almost every day.
Nice. And we have in the audience Pradumna, which is a huge open source advocate, and of course it's Appwrite and its community. It's amazing. And yes, perfect. Nice. Perfect. Do you want to add something on this? You were talking.
No.
Nice. Okay. So first of all, this is on live stream, so feel free to drop all the questions you want, especially about open source and Appwrite, of course. And now, if you have some time, Eldad, I would like to talk a bit about the team. For example, we have Tessa in the chat. Like I saw many people recently. Like I see that you are building really a top class team. Let me say this. I see Kushbu, Aditya, many people are joining. So I'd like to know like about building a top class team. How is it been? Is this like something that you're doing on purpose? So you have some strategy? Do you have? How are you building this team?
First of all, I think you have to remember that it's an ongoing process. And when you start as a smaller team in a smaller company, you don't necessarily hire the same kind of people, same kind of personas, and it changes constantly as you grow. Like we get a lot of applications to Appwrite every day, and we constantly encourage people to apply and reapply because the demands are always changing, and everything is so dynamic in a team. Like when you become a little bit more mature, you might look for different levels of experience. When you have a new opportunity, some specific background might be a better fit. The culture of the company is also shifting very rapidly. So, in the early days, you need some really brave souls to join a team that, when I was the only person in the company, like, who knows, maybe this guy is like really, really crazy, and you need like people that are a little bit more brave and in a step in their career that they can actually afford the risk. But I think as we grew as a company, we became more mature. The company got really popular, really successful, like the terms of change. And we also were able to build our network and expand it and got the chance to like get really highly talented individuals that, maybe 2 years back, we were just lucky to get on a call with them. Now suddenly they come to you and say like they want to work with you. And we can't complain about that. Like you want to surround yourself with the best individuals, and we were lucky and fortunate enough to do pretty well on that front and constantly expanding the team and looking for more talent. And it's also about like building a diverse culture. Like you don't want to kind of find replicas of each other. So we won't always look for high profile individuals or very, very experienced people. It's about building a good formula, good dynamics inside the team. So I truly believe like everyone might have a place in Appwrite, and it's all about like the timing, the opportunity, sometimes even a lot of luck because, eventually like no hiring process is perfect and sometimes we might make mistakes, but we encourage people to continue and try. And hopefully things goes well, like we can have the luck to collaborate.
Perfect. So I see many people here. There is Dennis Ivy, my friend. We have Bradley, Shub, Sharma. Pratt is amazing. We have more hearts. Today is the live stream is full of hearts for Pride. Amazing.
It's Valentine's.
Nice. Yes, almost the Valentine. Yes. Nice. Okay, perfect. So I'd like to now to know more about like the connection between Upright and open source, because this is the title. So let's step into like the main topic. Like, how has been like being an open source project maybe changed your approach or like the crucial parts? So how is Upright related to open source, and what are like the projects like in? What are the challenges?
Yeah, I think today Appwrite is probably a synonym to open source for a lot of people. We're working really hard and tightly with the open source community. Since day one, when we released Appwrite as an open source project, we knew that we wanted to collaborate and with anyone out there that is willing to help and has the skills to help us make the product better. When we started as a company, it was very clear to us that we want to build a company that is based on top of the same values that make open source so great, the same values that got us into the first place to be in a position to start a company. Without the open source community, Appwrite as a company wouldn't be existing. So it was really important to us to nurture those values. And in the early days, we decided that we want to really focus on bringing people from the open source community to work at Appwrite. It seemed like a perfect fit. We were hiring people from all different places, and we like completely missed that. Like the best people, the best fits for the company are just under our noses. And started bringing people from the open source community. We discovered an amazing thing. Like we brought people that are not only talented engineers, they also use our product, and they're pretty passionate about the product and what we're building, and they want to make it better, not only for other people, but also for themselves. So that kind of creates a different level of commitment. And as we grow as a company, we knew that we have the obligation to continue bringing back to the open source community because, like every healthy relationship, you kind of want it to be going both ways. And last year, we even created the Appwrite Open Source Fund, which is something that we're really proud of. We think it's pretty unusual for a company at our stage to have a fund to sponsor other open source projects. We have a fund of $50,000, and we're helping maintainers out there that weren't lucky enough to get funding, or their business model or the kind of software that they're building doesn't really allow them to monetize and build a successful business on top of it. And we always said, like, if we were lucky enough to be able to do this with the open source community, it's our obligation to continue that narrative and give back every time and every opportunity that we can. And this is our commitment to the open source community. Appwrite, as it goes, will always be there for the open source community in any way that we can. And it's been going really well so far. And like, yeah, so Appwrite and Open, it's almost the same thing for us.
Nice. So Eldad, I have to disagree with you because you keep saying lucky, 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 but I'm not. I don't trust in luck so much. You know, one of my favorite talks that inspired me, like 5 years ago, the title it was "There is no such thing as luck." Like I don't trust in luck. Maybe I trust in more like unlucky situations, but I don't trust much in luck. So, what I think, what I want to believe. Some people maybe they have some privilege, maybe they was born like in a place where there are more possibilities. I agree with that, but apart from that, I always or even I didn't have much luck in my life in that case, but I think that it's more about the environment you create around you. So bad things happen, but good things you should make them happen. This is usually how I see the world. So I don't know if I'll allow you to keep saying like, "Oh, I've been so lucky in hiring the people." Some people don't click apply on a company by chance. Like, oh, now I'm working here in Appwrite by chance. So
yeah, I tend to agree with you. We usually make our own luck. There is a factor of luck at the end of the day, but your job is to keep making sure that you pull on all the cards in the right place to make sure luck hits you oftenly. So I tend to agree, but we always also have to appreciate where we've come and understand that one wrong turn and you could be in a completely different place. And it's our job to always stay humble and keep working hard and understand that we still have a lot to prove.
Nice, amazing. So feel free if you have any question about open source or Appwrite. I see many people are interested. I am launching a poll, and for now, I'm sorry, or maybe you are happy about that 54% of the people, they never use Appwrite. So maybe this is a good news or bad news. Maybe let's say that it's good. So if more people.
Well, we're positive people, so we'll be very positive about and see that there's a lot of more room to grow and a lot more people that still have a chance to discover Appwrite and use it and maybe find out that it's really useful for them and even like take part in our open source community.
Yes, absolutely. So if we have 5-10 minutes now, I'd like to talk a bit about DevRel, because I started, I think, 5 weeks ago, a DevRel series on my channel when I talk about DevRel. So I call the series DevRel Unlocked, where basically I try to unlock DevRel and understand types, definitions. I get some parts of some interviews. So I'd like to know from you, I don't know, something more about the DevRel team, or maybe how is the DevRel team engaging with the rest of the community. I think they're really doing an amazing job, but I would like to know maybe from you, from your point of view, like how is it going with the DevRel team at Appwrite?
Yeah, sure. So DevRel has been around us for quite a while, more than a few good years, but I think it's one of the fastest evolving fields out there in software engineering in general. And I feel like we're starting to see a really good movement of different shapes and different types of dev advocacy and dev relationships. And in Appwrite, we kind of realize that there isn't like a one sum that fits all when it comes to dev. Like there are a lot of different subcategories inside dev advocacy, dev relationship, that you really do need to understand what different functions does it take in the organization. So in Appwrite, DevRels are actually responsible for a lot of different things, from classic advocacy, doing public talks, creating different integrations, an example of how people can succeed with the product, what are some of the best practices of using the product, but also in areas that are really tightly coupled with the product itself. From dev experience, which is a massive thing at Appwrite, it's a massive thing that we're focused on, like day and night. from the entire developer journey, understanding how the developer journey inside Appwrite looks like. If some of you are not familiar, that journey is kind of how people are getting exposed to your product, in what different channels, how they move into the product, how they interact with it in the first time, to how they adopt it and start going with it. And every product that is designed for developers should have a full understanding of how this journey might look like, and how you can improve the experience inside that journey, and how those dev experience looks like, from how does your getting started guide looks like, how do you structure your documentation in the website, to how the SDKs are being built, how do you integrate with the different SDKs, to the smallest thing like your naming conventions, your terminology, your voice when you talk to developers, users. That's why we don't call users, we call users developers. It's a very important nuance for us. Because developers are using Appwrite, their users are using the products that they built with Appwrite supporting them. So all those little things are dev advocacy, and it's a massive field that is growing rapidly. We're seeing a huge movement right now, and we're hoping to increase our focus on dev relationship, dev advocacy, dev experience, and everything related to that.
Nice, amazing. So I'd like to ask something else about DevRel. So do you think that being an full open source project is making the life of your DevRels easier? Because they have always something to talk about. So I think that this is a huge difference from a pure DevRel experience, from a developer advocate that joins your company.
I think open source reduces a lot of the friction, and if part of the job of a DevRel is to build trust with the community and to create transparency, so open source is the best enabler for that, no doubt. Very hard to say how it might be easier in other fields, because I think with a bit of creativity you can still be able to do good dev relationship. But yeah, open source is definitely a great tool in your belt as a dev advocate, dev relationship.
Yes, I totally agree. I don't know if I could come back, because now I am working as a developer in a company that is open source. So probably
that's funny. We hear that all the time. Once you go open source, you can go back. And we hear people I would never be able to work in a company that is not an open source company. Not just have an open source project, but an open source company. It's a completely different experience. It's every day feels like a party, working with developers all day long. Yeah, we should appreciate it, Francesco. We should appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really helps, because I think you said something interesting, which is the trust. I am a huge advocate of trust, but even before becoming a DevRel, I think this is where really you can make genuine connections. This is not just about developer advocacy, but life in general. And I think especially, I found that especially developers, they're really looking for something to trust in. It's way more important than, I don't know, just to look smart or look cool. Developers really want to trust something, to use it. I think they are one, at least I talk for me, I'm one of the most skeptic people in the world. They really want to see how things work, if you are taking care about that, and that they really dive deep into what a product is, even if it's not a developer related one. So I think that being an open source company can be one of the secret weapons. I see that you are advocating hard. I think you can also see that here behind me, open something, secure open source. This is something. Okay, so we have a question about Appwrite itself. So how many steps does it take to set up Appwrite on a VPS? Can you have many projects in an Appwrite account? He means.
Yeah, so if you go to the Appwrite website, there's our single command line that you can just stop in your terminal. The only difference is to have Docker set up on your system. Once you run that installation, it will take a few minutes for all the different Docker images to download. And after a few 4 questions, you can get your Appwrite instance up. The Appwrite self-hosted open source edition supports multi-tenancy, so you can basically have an unlimited number of projects. Yeah, you should just try it for yourself and give us any feedback that you have after using the product. We'd love that.
Nice. Now I have to check it because you mentioned Docker, so now I have to check it. Maybe now during the interview itself, I'll be
I
happy to
told
see it.
you it would be easy to sell it to you.
Nice.
Sold it without even trying.
Absolutely. Nice. So let's end this interview so I can go test it. No, I'm joking. I want to keep you for a little while, and yes. So nice. So can we give, please, Dad, by the way, thank you so much, of course. But can you give some more tips about open source? Because I see many people, many developers. I noticed that they don't know maybe about open source. I don't know how can we can also even take Appwrite as an example. I don't know. Let's say that I want to make contribution to open source. So let's say that I don't know much. Maybe I heard that open source is cool, but I don't know in practice what should I do. So instead of just advocating for open source, I would like if you can give some practical advice for someone who is getting started with open source.
I think my best advice would be to start very slowly. Open source contribution is not all about like building the next big feature in a product or to understand every little piece of the source code. It's not that easy. It shouldn't be, and it's not easy with any kind of product, not just open source product. Actually, might be even easier with open source product, but it's never easy. You can gain a lot from open source just by being part of a community, even as a passive member, like I was for years before I started engaging and feeling more confident to take a more active role in an open source community. And when you have this role inside the community, like a passive role, you can learn a lot just by seeing how different developers interact, what are the different processes, workflows, how do they apply different standards, and you can gain so much by just looking at the background and like looking around and seeing how others are operating. After that, if you want to start taking gradually a more active role, you can start doing it with really simple stuff. You can open an issue when you find a bug in the product. That's like super helpful, super helpful. You can do other stuff like helping in the community to other members if you have the ability and knowledge. That's really helpful because it allows other core maintainers to focus on building more complex features, while other community members that can help with stuff and free their time to do other things. That can be extremely valuable. Other than that, you want to do even more. You can advocate for a product. You can write a blog post. You can explain. That's really, really massive because as bigger the community becomes, more likely maintainers, more like feedback is likely to come, and it will definitely help the project or the company behind the product. After you've done that successfully, maybe that's an opportunity to start with some good first issues that are usually labeled on GitHub, like just making your first commit. It can be a typo, even like fixing a typo. I know people don't appreciate it, but if it's legit, and it can help you get some confidence. And we approve a lot of grammar PRs. It's completely fine as long as you're not spamming. So, like, there's a line to not cross, but that's fine. Nobody will chat it. Usually, like most open source communities are usually very, very welcoming and have like a great code of conduct and a great atmosphere. And as you grow and become more familiar and more confident in that community, in that ecosystem, you can start contributing some more meaningful things and gradually to become a more influential member. And in Appwrite, like we a lot of the times you even like, okay, we are asking you whether you want to work full time for the company. It happened multiple times. So it's really fun, really exciting. And it's like the best relationship because you already know the people that you're going to work with. You already feel like friends almost, like it's not even feeling like colleagues at times. So there are a lot of ways, take it step by step, don't exaggerate and don't have any imposter syndrome. It's hard to get started and you can get started with just simple stuff.
Yes, I love that these tips, and I also think that even if you have your PR that gets rejected for some reason, I would not go mad. But it's just sometimes it's all just about understanding the reasons. Maybe what you did it has already been solved. I think this is most of the times because maybe someone they did a sign. So it's all about the the collaboration with many people. I went on I'm here on, by the way, I just, this is the GitHub Appwrite product. I don't know if this is the biggest repository. You're getting close to 30,000 starts. So I expect some celebrations there. Congratulations, because this means. And now someone will say, yeah, Francesco, but it's not all about stars. I know, but it is just an example of to see that this project is really alive. I see many contributions yesterday, now some hours ago. So, and I'm getting this on a random moment. So yes. So yeah, I see that we have almost 300 contributors, which is let's say a lot. And this makes me curious, to be honest. So I'm honest, I never tried this, but I don't know. I think you're also doing a great job, even on social media, on how you are promoting, but never like overselling yourself. I think that the tone that you're having, I like it personally, honestly. I like it a lot. It's like you're not just talking, but also showing things and how you can do it. So yes, thank you so much. If you have any question, you guys just drop it now. And now I'd like to ask you, before we wrap up, we already crossed the 30 minutes. It's crazy. A bit more about the future, what you're currently working on. If you can share something. I'm trying here to get some insights. I'll trying for you that are in the audience. Let's see how far I can go.
I just say you want to get me into troubles with the marketing team. Yeah, I can say that we have some really exciting features for both some of the existing services of Appwrite, where we are really focused on streamlining the developer experience, taking a lot of feedback from the community to improve that experience. We're also highly focused on removing the friction of using some different services. For example, we're expecting to release a Git integration to our function service very soon that is going to make the integration with functions a lot smoother. We're also planning some new and exciting services that some of the community members might already expect for Appwrite, but we believe that we have some very interesting twists that hopefully will make people very, very excited about them. And we're also planning to have a public roadmap, which is something that we're really disappointed that we don't have yet. Probably lack of attention and too much noise with too many things to do. But we do want to have a public roadmap very, very soon, and we'll be able to share a lot more.
Nice, thank you so much. So I was meanwhile I was checking also the GitHub repository, and I already see that it's very well written. I see that there are also one-click solutions. I see Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, so things that I'm really passionate about. So I'll probably try something here. And yes, so thank you so much. And I don't know, yeah, sometimes it's hard like to do so many things, like maybe you like, but I mean, I think this is a part of the job. Like maybe you were focused on something else, and then you understand, but it's all about like iteration, let's say. So absolutely that. And yes, so I have one more question, because this is like honestly for me now, like let's say that okay, Eldad, you made an amazing job and you convinced me as a developer to get started with Appwrite. So how would you recommend to start with Appwrite? What do you think is the best and less friction way to test it?
Yeah, so I think the best way is probably, first of all, to do some exploration around the product and start to get familiar with the stack of capabilities to kind of be able to imagine what you can build with it. We see a lot of different use cases for Appwrite, so it's really like about exploration at the beginning, understand all the product capabilities, and be very creative with what you can build with it. Next, I would probably recommend to use Appwrite like I would recommend to use any other technology, like build simple stuff, try to create a lot of, give a lot of creative ideas into life. And yeah, and our team is there on Discord to support you if you have any questions, any doubts. Like the community is also super supportive and communicative, and like, you could probably get a reply in less than a minute if you have any doubt or any challenge. And the sky are the limits. Like, be very creative, build whatever you want, focus on being innovative. Like, that's what we want as a company. That's what we want as a product. We just want to allow people to build cool stuff and enjoy the process, which is also very important. Because if we don't enjoy what we do, we probably shouldn't do it.
Yes, absolutely. I see that you support different technologies, different backend technologies, and this makes me very, very curious about this. Yes, I see here we have Jyoti. Hello, everyone. Great to see this live. Yeah, of course, we are here for you. And yes, so this is all exciting. I also had, let's say, this privilege that now, since I have like this YouTube channel, this series, I can get this information directly from you, which is a honor for me, of course. So thank you so much, Eldad. If you wanted to make me curious, you made it. So I want to say this. So before we wrap up, would you like to leave maybe some final message? Because many people here, I think in the audience, are developers. I would like maybe to leave a final message, especially for them, especially for who is getting started, or maybe for say junior developers, or maybe I don't know, they are looking for a job. So maybe I don't know, a final message for especially for developers, and then we can close up this first episode about Appwrite.
Yeah, sure. So since we're talking about open source communities, I think my best tip would be get involved in open source. It's a great way to build a network, to learn, to get connected to people, to build cool stuff, to gain lots of knowledge. My other advice that I always give to junior developers, just get your hands as dirty as you can. Build a lot of stuff, like building stuff, messing around with technologies like Appwrite, like different frameworks, different languages out there is the best way to actually learn and to gain that knowledge. And just constantly iterate. Like we can always get better, and we're never good enough. And that's like something that we will have to live with. And as long as we can realize that and understand that we can live peacefully with that and not be bothered by that every day. Just all about like we can get better every day, and it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what I needed when I was about to get started and wanted to switch into tech, because now I know many things. Because getting your hands dirty, especially for example, let's say checking an open source project, trying to understand how these things work, having a GitHub account, understanding what is an issue, how to raise a PR, how to merge a PR, how to maintain. These are look like they should be like in the default setup of a developer. You know, when you make like a character like in a game, when you're a developer, you should have this. Like this is the default package. But the truth is that most of the things we have to find them by ourselves. So we should always take initiative. Don't be passive. And I also saw that many developers, they are a bit scared, for example, to show something, or for example, to expose their code, or maybe they're even scared. But I mean, if you see something and if you see an opportunity to contribute to an open source project, I think you should do it. And then it's like having different responsibilities. Like if you can make any PR you want, unless it's not something crazy, but you can make any PR you want. And then it will be a duty of the maintainers to understand, reply to you, leave a comment, say if that's okay, if that's not okay. I would recommend to not make huge and big PRs, for the simple reason that maybe half of the PR is good and half is not okay. So I will try to be as granular as possible. For example, this happened to me as a maintainer. Sometimes I get a PR which is almost perfect, but I don't know, they changed also another thing that has nothing to do with the issue. So it's very, very important to be as focused as possible on a single on what the issue is saying. And yes, so Eldad, you made me really curious about Appwrite. Finally, I have a list of like the things that I want to try, and Appwrite is on the list, of course. So yes, if that was the goal, now I have more interest into that. Let's see, of course, as you know, I'm shameless, so probably I'll try things live, I'll tweet about that. I want to really test things. It's the best way for me. And yes, who knows? So yes, thank you so much for coming. Thanks so much for your time. I know that you are very busy, but you still found the time to come here. I really appreciate this. I know, but I hope that at least I gave you a break with all your responsibilities, and now you
Yeah,
you know.
it was fun. Sometimes it's nice to take a break and change scenes for a bit. And I was really eager to finally to have an official call with you.
Nice. Of course, check the links below, check Appwrite, test it. Let's keep in touch because we want to do something, some collaborations with Aditya, or maybe I'll try something alone, of course. So that we are done for today. I don't know you, it's 6 p.m. here, probably 7 p.m. if you are in Israel. The only bad news is that we will not meet unless our planes they just mess up, which can also be because I'll be in Israel in 4 weeks, but you will not be there, right?
No, not likely for now, but I'm sure we'll get a chance to meet in person as well. We'll make it work.
I think we will make it because I'm gonna go to many conferences. I saw that I already have 10 trips planned, and it's just February. So I haven't traveled for a while. So I've already 10. I counted them. So my last plane it was in November, and I barely managed to do everything. So now that I'm start to travel, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'll try. We have to.
It's a challenge. You need to keep a live journal to let us know how it works for you. 10 is challenging.
Already, like I remember last year in February I had 0 trips confirmed, and now I have 10 confirmed in February. I'm doomed, Dad. So I don't know.
I'm not jealous. I have to admit.
Yes, the problem is that I like conferences. I like meeting people in person. There is also free food at conferences. So yes, absolutely.
Most important thing.
The food in Israel is a top class. I am from Italy, and we're famous for being like huge judges about food. But I remember very good things. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, we can complain about the food. Next time when we meet here, I'll take you to a nice restaurant.
I know some restaurants in Israel, some very good ones. They made a very good job, and now we're also getting close to dinner, so I'm getting hungry now. Eldad, thank you so much. Of course, follow him, check the links Appwrite, and we are done for today. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.